Is there a greater crime in modern sports than watching a living legend scream into the void while his front office sits on their hands and watches the hourglass run out? That is the agonizing reality currently gripping the Bay Area, and it is the exact emotional leverage point that the Chicago Bulls must exploit right now. We are looking at a collision course between two desperate franchises, but for very different reasons. On one side, you have the Golden State Warriors, a team that is watching Stephen Curry pour his heart and soul onto the hardwood every night, delivering MVP-caliber performances in his twilight years, only to be suffocated by an offense that simply cannot help him. On the other side, you have the Chicago Bulls staring down the barrel of a financial gun, knowing that Coby White is an expiring asset who could walk out the door for absolutely nothing in July. The solution to both nightmares? A blockbuster swap, sending Coby White to the Warriors and the disgruntled, high-ceiling phenom Jonathan Kuminga to the Windy City. This isn't just a rumor, it is a lifeline. The context here is critical. The Warriors are currently boasting the 6th best defensive rating in the NBA, a championship-level foundation, but their offense is sputtering like a broken engine. They are fighting for their lives just to make the play-in tournament in a loaded Western Conference. Every game that Curry drops 30 points and they lose is a dagger to the heart of the franchise's legacy. They need a spark. They need someone who can create their own shot when the system breaks down. Enter Coby White. Despite his flaws, White is a walking bucket, a microwave scorer on an incredibly team-friendly contract for the remainder of the season. He represents the immediate relief that Golden State is starving for. But for Chicago, the motivation is even more complex. We are living in a new economic reality in the NBA. Look at the recent trade sending Trae Young to the Wizards. That move sent a shockwave through the league, signaling that the market value for small, scoring-first guards has plummeted. The days of getting a king's ransom for a player of White's archetype are gone. If the Bulls' front office sits back and waits for a perfect deal, they are going to end up empty-handed. Losing White for zero return in free agency would be a catastrophic failure of asset management, the kind of mistake that sets a rebuild back by years. The rumors are swirling that Kuminga has formally requested a trade, and the stars are aligning for a deal that is simply too logical to ignore. The tension is palpable. One team needs to save its present, the other needs to secure its future. The question is, who blinks first? Let's peel back the layers of this potential deal, because the narrative surrounding Jonathan Kuminga is one of the most polarizing debates in the entire association. To understand why the Bulls should be sprinting to the phone to make this call, you have to look past the box score of the last 2 months. Yes, Kuminga has been in Steve Kerr's doghouse. He has only suited up in 18 of the team's 43 games this season, despite having no major structural injuries. That statistic alone usually screams damaged goods, but savvy GMs know that one man's trash is another man's treasure. Kuminga isn't failing because he lacks talent. He is failing because the situation has become toxic. He is a Ferrari stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. We need to rewind the tape to the 2025 playoffs to see the real player lurking beneath the drama. Do you remember the Western Conference semifinals against the Timberwolves? When Steph Curry went down with an injury, the Warriors looked dead in the water. Who stepped up? It wasn't the veterans. It was Jonathan Kuminga. He became the alpha dog, leading the team in scoring and averaging 24 points per game over the final 4 games of that series. He was shooting 55% from the field and a stunning 39% from three-point range, with the entire opposing defense keyed in on him. That is not a fluke. That is a proof of concept. That is a 23-year-old showing you that when given the keys to the offense, he can drive the car. Now, project that skill set into the Chicago Bulls' current ecosystem. The fit is fascinating. The Bulls have pivoted to a roster construction featuring Josh Giddey, an elite passer who struggles to score, and Nikola Vucevic, a stretch big who opens up the lane. Kuminga is an athletic freak who thrives as a cutter and a finisher. Imagine Giddey running the break, looking for a lob threat. Kuminga is that guy. Imagine Vucevic dragging the opposing center out to the three-point line, leaving the paint wide open for Kuminga to attack downhill. The geometry of the court changes instantly. Furthermore, we have to analyze the Trae Young effect on the trade market again. Small guards are depreciating assets. Coby White is a fantastic scorer, but he is a defensive liability in a league that is hunting mismatches relentlessly. Kuminga offers positional size, versatility, and defensive upside that White simply cannot match physically. For the Warriors, the desperation for offense outweighs the defensive loss, making White valuable to them specifically. But for the Bulls, acquiring a young wing with all-star potential who has been held back by his coaching staff is the exact type of buy low swing that builds championships. It's a classic change of scenery trade. We have seen players like Lauri Markkanen leave a stifling situation and blossom into all-stars. Kuminga has all the tools to be the next name on that list, but he needs the minutes and he needs the trust, two things Chicago can offer in abundance. So, we arrive at the moment of truth. Is this a gamble, or is it a necessary evolution for two franchises stuck in basketball purgatory? The implications of not making this trade are terrifying for both sides. If the Warriors stand pat, they are essentially waving a white flag on the season. They are telling Steph Curry, "We tried, but we couldn't find help," while risking missing the playoffs entirely or getting bounced in the play-in tournament. That is how you breed resentment in a franchise legend. On the flip side, if the Bulls hold onto Coby White out of stubbornness or an inflated sense of his value, they face the nightmare scenario of July. White walks into free agency, signs a massive deal elsewhere, and the Bulls get a heartfelt thank you tweet and 0 draft picks. That is a fireable offense for a general manager. The reaction from the fan base is already bubbling over. Half of Dub Nation is hesitant, worried about trading away their future in Kuminga for a rental in White, but the other half is desperate to maximize every second of the Curry era. They want scoring and they want it now. Meanwhile, in Chicago, the fans are tired of mediocrity. They are tired of the play-in push. They want a young core with a ceiling that touches the sky. Swapping a known commodity like White for a mystery box like Kuminga is scary, but it's the kind of fear that makes you feel alive again. It signals a direction. It signals hope. Ultimately, this trade is a rare double desperation win-win. The Warriors get the offensive punch to salvage a season and protect their superstar's legacy. The Bulls get a blue-chip prospect with superstar flashes who fits perfectly next to their playmaking core, ensuring they don't lose an asset for nothing. It makes too much sense not to happen, which is exactly why it's the most fascinating storyline to watch as the deadline approaches. I want to know where you stand on this potential blockbuster. If you are sitting in the Bulls front office, are you pulling the trigger? Do you trust that Kuminga's issues are just Steve Kerr problems and not Kuminga problems? And if you're a Warriors fan, is Coby White enough to push you over the edge in the West? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to see a war in the chat between the Win Now crowd and the Build for Future crew. And hey, if you want to stay ahead of the curve on every trade rumor and deep dive analysis this season, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are tracking this story by the hour. Let's see who makes the first move.